And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the 2-Point Conversion NFL DFS podcast, Week 17 edition. We are finally at the end of the season, and it's going to be an ugly week. We got cold weather all over the East Coast and Midwest. We have teams not caring, teams sitting guys. It's a mess. You can find me on Twitter at BDentric, and before we break it down, I am joined by one of my co-hosts, James. You can find him on Twitter at Pater_DFS. James, how we doing?
Oh, not bad at all, man. Ready to take a break from football for a while and start working on MLB stuff and pitching stuff and all that. But first, we have to talk about what is sure to be the worst slate of the year for everyone. So
this is the week where if you win, there's a good chance it wasn't because you, how can I say this, know what you were doing. Right. It's like not meant to be disrespectful, but I can't wait to see these lineups. And I agree, I can't wait for MLB. So let's get at it. We'll kick it off. There's 7 early games, 9 late games. The 9 late games, knock on wood, all have some implication on the playoffs, so they should be a little more important. The first 7 still have a little bit of an impact. We'll kick it off with Green Bay at Detroit. Detroit's a 7-point home favorite. Total's 43. Green Bay has no receiving core outside of Cobb. That's from the start of the season. What are you seeing on this one, James?
God. Brett Hundley's only 4,800, but he won't have Devontae Adams back, I don't think, because
he's pretty much out.
So what do you do with Brett Hundley at 4,800? He can't pass to literally anybody but Devontae Adams. He proved it all year while he was showing what he could do. The only person he tossed to is Devontae Adams. They don't have Jordy Nelson. They don't have Adams. They don't have Geronimo Allison. They'll have Jeff frickin' Janis, who I'm sure Davis Maddock will love. It's just, this is awful. The only thing that I can say about this is that we're not going to have to worry about Darius Slay shadowing any of his options. So this Detroit defense is very, very bad, except for Slay when he shadows. So since he won't shadow, we can kind of take our pick of the litter of whatever shitty wide receiver we want to have from this team. And Hundley is super cheap. So that's like a really contrarian GPP option if you wanted to stack that side. Aaron Jones is doubtful. Jamal Williams is there at 5,200. I think he's a good option. I don't think they're going to try to pass a lot in this game. So Jamal Williams makes sense to me. On the other side, Eric Ebron has been really, really good over the last couple weeks. He did come back to practice, I think, recently. He's still questionable. Matthew Stafford at 6,300 is a pretty nice option against Green Bay, who, they don't have anything to play for, so he might be able to tee off on him a little bit, but this is one of those games where you're just going to want to skip over. Like, there are no playoff implications to be had here. Nobody cares. Nothing's going to be happening. Everybody's injured, so just don't even take pieces of this game unless you're going to have like 5% sprinkles in a full MME of like Janis or Cobb or Hundley. Like, this is just fringe plays all over this game.
Yeah, definitely fringe play game. One part of it that I do like is it's in a dome, so we have a controlled atmosphere compared to some other places. So the Stafford at 63. Yeah, Marvin Jones at 6,500. He torched these guys for 7,107 and 2 touchdowns in Week 9 this year for 32.7 points. So he's always worth a look. I can't pay 45 for Ebron. The Detroit defense at 37 could be one of those that will get overlooked quite a bit. They play really good defense at home this year in that stadium. Something to think about there. I do like the Jamal Williams call at 5,200 if you want a cheaper running back. And if you want to throw something at the wall as one of those, 5% or less darts you were mentioning, Michael Clark of Green Bay is $3,000 in his first start last week with the depleted core. He had 9 targets, 3 catches for 36 yards. He's at $3,000, and there's no one else to throw to besides Cobb. I think reports came out Janis might not even be the focal point. It's a mess. So be prepared for a 0 from Clark, but at the same time could be tremendous GPP upside, which this week there's going to be a ton of just throwing stuff at the wall if you want to differentiate in the multi-entries like you mentioned. Before we go any farther, I want to ask your question on this one. What's your thoughts on almost more of a cash game, kind of like 70% chalky feel in a lineup this week?
I think that's about the best you can do. I mean, I really, unless you're going to be doing like 150 to 300 lineups. So there is a strategy a lot of people don't know about when they MME, to where you don't only max enter and build lineups for one contest, but you can build lineups for every single contest if you have the bankroll to do it. If you're playing with like 2K with like $2,000, you can make like 400 unique lineups and cover one full tournament with 150, another full tournament with another 150, and then like the 3 max and the single entries and stuff like that. If you're doing it that way, if you're doing a whole shit ton of lineups, then yeah, try to be contrarian, try to be different, and have like 5%, 10% sprinkles of like some of these fringe plays. But if you're not, if you're only doing like 1 to 5 lineups, chalk it up. Just get yourself some min cash equity and just try to hit the cash line. Don't try to take down a tournament. Let other people make mistakes and be stupid with their plays.
Yeah, that's exactly the thought process I was having. I want to throw it your way because you're one of the more contrarian guys. You and Bucks like to be very, very contrarian, and it works. Definitely works most of the year. This week just seems so just messy. So that's why I was mentioning Clark at 3K if you're going crazy. Otherwise, I think build a bunch of 4 to 6K guys, and you'll be surprised of how much that'll cash this week. I have a feeling. Let's go to Houston at Indianapolis. Indianapolis 4-point home favorites. Total is 41. DeAndre Hopkins is out this week. That was announced today. So there goes all of your love pretty much for the Houston side of things. I'll just tell you what I'm looking at real quickly. I don't mind Jacoby Brissett if you want to. Again, this is if you're focusing on guys that don't care. These two teams will play hard just because what do they have to lose? He did put up almost 24 against Indy earlier this year. But the top play in this one for me is T.Y. Hilton at 5,900 in a dome and against a team that he absolutely torched. This was T.Y. week in week 9, 37.5 points, 9 catches, 175, 2 touchdowns. And the Houston defense is even worse than it was back then, I believe. So he's a nice play at $5,900. Other than that, you're playing Doyle at 47, and then you're just taking punts at 3K, but I wouldn't do it in this game. I'd rather punt with Clark. But Brissett, Hilton, and Doyle. But Hilton, pretty much if I had one play, that would be the one in this one. What about you?
Yeah, Hilton is fine. Hilton is a good option. I'm sure he'll be really popular at 5,900. He has huge boomer bust potential. We know that when he has a good matchup, he can just crush. So I'm fine with T.Y. Hilton. And then after that, I know that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, DeAndre Hopkins, 30% market share, going around to the rest of the team. I want Will Fuller. I want Braxton Miller. I want this guy. I want that guy. You know what I don't want? TJ frickin' Yates.
Yep.
I don't want any exposure to this Houston Texans team. In fact, the Colts at 2,900 doesn't even look like an awful option.
That's true.
Week, the only person that Yates could throw to was DeAndre Hopkins. Point blank, plain simple, and he couldn't even throw to him that well. So the Colts defense 2,900 is a really nice contrarian option if you're trying to be different on this slate. I do think they have the potential to only allow like 7 points and get 4 or 5 sacks. Yates is awful.
Yeah, he's bad. He looked like a concussion last game, came back because his backup, who I've never heard of in my life, he got concussed, had to leave like 2 plays later. So it's the walking wounded over there. So 2,900 for the Colts, no one's going to play him. So definitely an angle to look at. Chicago at Minnesota. Minnesota 12-point home favorites. Total is 40. Minnesota technically still has something to play for seeding-wise. Obviously, the Bears do not. James, what are you looking at in this one?
So Minnesota does kind of have something to play for, but they have a 99.5% chance to get that anyway.
Yeah, true.
There's less than a 1% chance that they don't get their home field advantage. So I'm not actually sure that they have a lot to play for. The Chicago team is really, really beat up. They're really, really bad. John Fox is on his way out. The line is probably right at 12-point favorites for the Vikings. I don't think they have to try too hard to win this game by a decent amount. But I also think that they will probably let off the gas by a considerable amount in the second half. Because I don't think that they'll need to risk injuries. I don't think they'll need to care because, this coaching staff is smart. They understand their chances to make it into this position that they want to be in. And they have the same numbers that I do and saying they literally have a 99% chance to make it. So I don't think they'll try that hard. I think this is kind of a trap game. I don't necessarily want either side. I do think the Minnesota defense is in play, but I don't really want anybody in this game at all. I don't think either one of these teams is going to play that hard.
Yeah, I feel you there. The defense at 39 is definitely in play if you're going to pay up a bit in this matchup. Other than that, Stephon Diggs has come on, but I agree this could be one where they just run it out late or don't even play their starters in the second half. So it's very, very risky. And as you listeners can tell, we're going to breeze through some of these games because it's just not even worth just throwing it at you. So Jets at New England. New England has a 30-point team total, 15-point favorites at home against the New York Jets. You got a banged-up Tom Brady at $6,800. He hasn't even really practiced this week. What are you looking at in this one, James?
We might see Brian Hoyer in the second half of this game. We might see Brian Hoyer play this entire game. Like, Tom Brady is kind of beat up. He's got that Achilles issue. He's 40 years old. They have no reason to push the envelope in this game, literally at all. It's not like the Jets are going to knock him out of the playoffs. So I'm not playing Tom Brady. I'm also not playing Brian Hoyer because I'm not Siege, but it is an interesting situation for them. I don't think that they play their starters very much. The only situation that I do like here, if Burkhead and White are going to be out again, there are 3 question marks for the New England backfield: Burkhead, White, and Gillislee. That would leave Dion Lewis, James Devlin, and Brandon Bolden. So all of the Dion Lewis, literally every single piece of the Dion Lewis. I think he's the best play in this game. I don't think New England starters are going to play much at all, but I'm not going to take any shots on their backups either. And then the Jets, their season is completely shot. There's no reason for them to care at all. Matt Forte is probably not going to play this week. I can't imagine that they let him play. Bilal Powell might be a pretty nice option here if you think that this game is going to kind of turn into one of those nobody cares. He did have a huge run last week. He had a good week. So I like Bilal Powell. I like Dion Lewis, but I don't like any of the other options in this game.
Yeah, Dion Lewis at 6,800 is tremendous. Even, like you said, with all the banged-up running backs, if they're just trying to run it out late, he got a boatload of touches the last few weeks. So he is the bell cow at the moment, even though we know Belichick can change that at any given time. But we have to just go off of what we see, and this is Dion Lewis at $1,600 is in play. I like the Bilal Powell call at 47. Robbie Anderson keeps putting up double digits at 5,000. I do see them at least trying to hang in there and throw it around, even if they're down in the second half. So you could get some garbage with Anderson, which was pretty much all we got most of the year with him, is big late touchdowns. So he's at 5,000, but there will be better spots later. The New England defense at 3,500 is definitely live for me in this one at home because New England still has to win. They should be able to wrap it up easily. But if they win and a Pittsburgh loss, given Pittsburgh plays Cleveland, New England will get home field. So it's they will be going for something, at least initially. Washington, what's up?
That's actually kind of interesting that the Patriots have to win and the Steelers have to lose in order for the Patriots to have home field advantage, especially because the Patriots are resting Ben Roethlisberger and Lev Bell. They're just like
that. At least that's what I read earlier, unless something has changed. But that was the thing I was reading earlier.
That's interesting. All right. Okay, on to the next one.
Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind. I still think they get up big and they win comfortably, but we'll see. Washington at the Giants, absolutely nothing to play for here. Giants 3.5-point home dogs, totals 38.5. Weather's going to be very, very cold. This is one, though, that does pique my attention. Cousins has been outstanding. He's $6,200. If you are going to pay a little bit up for a quarterback, he's not horrible. And then Josh Doxson at $4,400 is one of the cheaper receivers I am big on. He had 13 targets last week, only caught 2, which is ridiculous. But he has been, only 2 for 61 and a touchdown. But he's been getting a ton of snaps, running a ton of routes, like I think I want to say in the 90 percentile, at least 85% or above the last 3 or 4 weeks. Big time in this passing attack. As we know, the Giants have no cornerbacks or nobody in the secondary anymore, as everyone's either been suspended or just said screw it. So there are options with the Redskins in this one. It is a big-time rivalry, so even though they have no playoffs to play for, I know these guys will give a care a little bit. Also, if you want a cheap running back, Samaje Perine at 4,500, I do like a lot in this game. He came back 17 carries last week. He's basically had 15 or more in 3 straight weeks. When he played this despicable Giants defense in Week 12, 24 carries for 100 yards, 3 catches for 30 yards, 19 DraftKings points. He could be in for a big week in this one. And then on the Giants side of things, the only thing I'm looking at, and again, you got to trust what's been happening lately, but Wayne Gallman has 8, 7, and 9 targets in the last 3 weeks, 6, 6, and 7 catches, basically 12 or more DraftKings points in 3 straight weeks. So they're definitely using him in the passing game. $4,200, not that bad for a cheap running back option. But again, another ugly game, cold game. What are your thoughts here, James?
This game is really, really dangerous to have anybody from this in your core.
Yes.
I think that Doxson is a good play. He's the best play in this game, and he's probably one of the best plays on the slate, honestly, because it doesn't matter who's in at quarterback, even though it'll be Kirk Cousins, but it doesn't matter who's in at quarterback. They're going to be giving him the ball because he's a good wide receiver, and he gets separation and he gets targets. Just because he only caught 2 balls last week doesn't mean that he's not going to continue to get targets. I worry about Samaje Perine because Kabri Bibbs is back there. They have like a full backfield. I worry about Wayne Gallman because they have Darkwall back there. They have Perkins. These are teams that are going to be looking to see what they have with the players that they have before they move on to next year. So that brings me to my next point. The 2 guys that matter in this game are Kirk Cousins and Eli Manning, because both of them, Eli Manning is fighting to basically be in the NFL next year. And then Kirk Cousins is finally trying to have a contract that doesn't suck and be with a team that actually matters. So I like both of them, but at the same time, this Giants organization, if they pull Eli Manning at halftime because they want to see what they have in their other quarterbacks, you're screwed. So I think the best play in this game is Kirk Cousins and Josh Doxson, and then the rest just scares the hell out of me. I don't know where else I'd go. So, yeah, that's all my thoughts. I am okay with Cousins and Doxson, but the rest are just terrifying because I don't know what these teams are going to do with their guys and their talent and see who they have. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I agree. And the Eli call is interesting. The only part that really scares me there is this the first week that they've made Davis Webb the number 2. So I wouldn't be shocked if he's getting some run. The other part of this I missed earlier, Sterling Shepard likely out this week. They have to throw it to somebody. Roger Lewis is $3,600 last week. The last 3 weeks, 11, 10, and 11 targets. So he's getting a lot of target shares. For $3,600, we've played much worse in worse situations. So another cheap option to look at that is at least getting the looks, and that's pretty much all you can ask for at that price. Dallas at Philadelphia. Eagles 2.5-point home dogs. Totals 41.5. Eagles have 0 to play for. Foles likely not playing, if not maybe just a couple drives. Most of these guys are sitting. Do you like anything in this game?
No, neither one of these teams is playing for anything. They don't have any reason to play any of their starters more than a couple snaps and then just see what they have. I do actually think that Bryce Butler is an interesting play because Bryce Butler is legit good.
Yep.
And he is going to be full go. He was full go in practice. He's only $3K. He is so much better than Terrence Williams. And if they're not trying to win, the only reason why Terrence Williams gets more snaps than Bryce Butler is because he's a better blocker. So if they're not trying to win and they're not trying to run Ezekiel Elliott, then they might be trying to pass the ball and give it to Bryce Butler. So I think that he's another one of those guys that can be an MME sprinkle, 5-10% at min price. He's my favorite play in this game, but it's just gross. They don't have any reason to do anything.
Yeah, I agree. I could try to tell you to play this guy or that guy, but I don't want anything to do with this game. I'd rather gamble on the previous ones or some later ones. I'm not paying $8,700 for Zeke. He might go crazy. I just can't do that. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Again, if Pittsburgh wins, it's their home field. Ben and Lev Bell likely not playing. Lev Bell was $10,000 this week. Pitt's still a 13-point favorite, total of 40, even with those changes. Anything striking your fancy in this one?
Don't play any DFS this week. Just go hammer the money line to the Browns. 13-point favorites without Ben and Lev?
Pretty wild.
That's insanity. Like, you're telling me that Landry Jones and Juju Smith-Schuster are better than the Browns by 13 points. No, they're not. I promise you, they're not. Go take that bet. Go to Bet Online, go to Bovada, whatever. Go take whatever you can. If it's double digits, take that bet. As far as like the DFS implications of this game, with what I heard earlier, if Pittsburgh loses this game and New England wins, then New England gets home field advantage. Why on earth would Pittsburgh be sitting both of their main players apart from Antonio Brown? Like, the Patriots are like impossible to beat at home in the playoffs. Why would you give them home field advantage? That's so stupid. I hate this organization. They're so dumb. I don't want anybody from this game. I think that Deshaun Kaiser is a good play with Josh Gordon. That's a really contrarian stack that could win you a lot of money because we saw the upside that Kaiser has when he has this full wide receiver core healthy. I think he put up – it was that week that I told everybody to stack the Browns, and they worked out. Gordon had a touchdown. Coleman had a touchdown. Deshaun Kaiser finished with like 25 fantasy points. I think that can happen again in this game. I do think that a Brown stack is in play because if Pittsburgh is resting their best players, this is actually a competitive environment.
Yeah, what I'm looking at is basically give me some Duke Johnson at 4,700. That's about as far as I want to go in this one because I don't see anything else. But Duke's been the model of consistency, so I'll roll that one all day, every day. Carolina at Atlanta. Atlanta 4-point home favorites. Totals 46. Both these teams have a lot to play for, so we're starting to get into the juicy tidbits of the week. This is the first afternoon game that I was mentioning earlier. You got Cam at 68, which is very, very intriguing in this matchup. McCaffrey at 67 could run wild on these guys. And Olsen at 56. I think I like McCaffrey the most out of those three against an Atlanta run defense is atrocious, but overall their defense is very bad. So a Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, McCaffrey look I like a ton. On the Atlanta side, Julio Jones at $8,200 in another smash spot. You guys were calling for one all year. I'm pretty positive he torched these guys. Like he's been off the last couple of weeks. I only got 11.3 against these guys earlier this year. That's Mohamed Sanu. I clicked the wrong one. My bad. Yeah, he torched these guys earlier this year. Give me Julio at 8,200. I'm all in on that. He had 20.8 against them earlier this year. 6 for 118 on 12 targets. So I like that a ton. What are you liking in Carolina and Atlanta?
Game stack. This is the game stack. So when we were talking about the MME earlier, usually you want to build around a core. Your core should be players from this game because this game matters. Like Carolina still has to care. Atlanta still has to care. There are playoff implications here. Neither team has been eliminated. Cam Newton is 6,800. Matt Ryan is 5,900. Both these defenses suck. They have a lot of talent on both sides. You should be building around this game and then having your 5%ers be the ones that are like your random one-off wide receiver, your random one-off running back next to McCaffrey or whatever. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the best game on this slate. It's the only one that both teams actually have to care and have to try to win. So stack around this, do whatever you want to do with it. My favorite is going to be probably Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, Greg Olsen, and Julio Jones. That's probably my favorite back and forth game stack on this slate.
All right, I want to clarify something before we continue. I just read up on it. If the Patriots win, they have home field. The Steelers need the Patriots to lose.
Oh, okay. All right.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah. All right.
That was my bad. So there we go. I wanted to get that out there before someone trolled us on it later. Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore still playing for their playoff life. 9.5-point home favorites. Total is 40.5. This is another smash spot for the Baltimore D. What else are you liking in this one?
Baltimore defense, I think that Joe Flacco is never in play. Alex Collins is in play at 5,600. I think he's fine. If Joe Mixon misses, then Gio Bernard is probably a little overpriced for what this defense can do. But he would be in play just for his PPR upside. Wide receiver, AJ Green is 6,300. I want to so bad, but I can't because Andy Dalton is just awful, and this Baltimore team is really, really good. So it's really just the defense and Alex Collins for me. I don't see any reason to get cute about this. Like, Baltimore should win this one easily.
Yeah, I'm with you. The defense running back correlation, Collins at 5,600 is tremendous. We've talked about him quite a bit lately. He can go crazy on a very bad run defense in Cincinnati. And that Ravens defense at $3,800 is too cheap in this one. They are one of, if not the best defensive play this week, in my opinion. We've been riding this train all year, and they just keep smashing. Earlier this year against Cincinnati, put up 25 DraftKings points against them in Cincy. So give me a little bit of Dalton McCarron combo out there at $3,800. I am all in on that Ravens defense. Other than that, you can sprinkle. You got the likes of Mike Wallace with Macklin possibly being out. Wallace at 57 is not horrible. But yeah, give me Collins, give me the defense. Let's rock and roll on that one. Buffalo at Miami. This is a game that doesn't mean much. Buffalo, if they win, they need a lot of help to get in. So it's pretty much nothing. Miami 3-point home favorites. Total's 43. But just because this game means nothing, there is some DFS implications here. I'm telling you, these teams met recently. I like me some Tyrod Taylor at 5,300 in a really, really good spot against these guys. The Bills destroyed Miami, at least DFS-wise recently. Tyrod, 23.16 points against them 2 weeks ago. I like him. Absolutely love LaShawn McCoy at $8,000. He had a huge week against the Dolphins. 20 for 50, 4 catches for 46, couple touchdowns, 25.6 points 2 weeks ago. He's in a smash spot. You could look at Kelvin Benjamin as a cheap receiver at 43. He's looking healthy. He's getting targets. I love this Bills attack here in this one, especially Taylor and McCoy. On the Dolphins side of things, Kenyon Drake at 7K, still the main bell cow there, and he's been getting the load and had 23.3 against these guys 2 weeks ago, 16 for 78 and a touchdown, 6 catches on 11 targets against them 2 weeks ago. So $7,200. I do like me some Kenyon Drake. You got your Landry at 62 options there. You let us all down last week. He's still an option in play. Cutler does suck, but he's going to wing it around. He's telling everybody he still wants to play next year now, so he wants to put on a show. If you want a cheap receiver, Devontae Parker at 4,400 the last 2 weeks, 10 targets and 12 targets. He had 6 for 89 against the Bills 2 weeks ago. He's 100% healthy now, and he's shown it the last 2 weeks. So he's taken a lot of the Landry share, especially last week. So 4,400 for Parker, I don't hate at all. It on paper looks like a very ugly game, but this could be an interesting fantasy game with some pieces you could put together. What do you think, James?
Yeah, it's an interesting game. It's one of the few games that I think is kind of like on the lame side of things with the playoff implications, but I do think that it's a game that could potentially have some fireworks. I don't mind Tyrod Taylor at 5,300. He really needs to finish the season strong so that he can go play for a team that's gonna like appreciate him for what he is. Jay Cutler at 4,900 is literally never in play. I don't care what anybody says. LaShawn McCoy at 8K is a good play. I actually like LaShawn McCoy and then bring it back with Kenyon Drake at 7,200 because both of these guys get a lot of work. The only thing that worries me is Mike Tolbert came back when he got healthy and instantly started taking meaningful carries away from LaShawn McCoy and instantly started taking away screens because coaching is awful, because Sean McDermott has no idea how to utilize talent, and here we are. So I like Kenyon Drake a little bit more than I like LaShawn McCoy. 7,200 is a nice price for somebody who's getting his workload. He's probably one of my favorite plays on the slate, and we have plenty of value to be able to fit him in there, so there's no reason not to have him in cash. I think he's still way underpriced. With wide receivers, Benjamin's okay at 4,300. As a Panthers fan, I don't think he's very good. I think that he's just kind of a big body. I feel like he hurts Charles Clay more than he helps anything else. So Landry at 6,200. I'm still on that train. He's been really, really good basically all year. So that's been good. As far as tight ends go, I think that is Charles Clay going to play?
He's supposed to right now.
Okay. I like Charles Clay if he plays about as much as I like Kelvin Benjamin, but I would lean Charles Clay, I suppose. I mean, this is a game that has some potential spots in it, but I'd rather just relegate to Kenyon Drake and LaShawn McCoy and just call it good.
Yep, I don't hate that either. Here's another fun one. New Orleans pretty much has their seeding taken care of, but New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 7-point home dogs. Total is 51 in this matchup. Let us know what you like here.
Total is 51 in this game.
Yep.
Can Tampa Bay put up 20 points against anyone? I don't know. So I don't know if 51 is a good total. I would probably take the under on that. I don't like Drew Brees. I don't like Jameis Winston. I do like Mark Ingram quite a bit at 7,500. I was having a conversation with a friend earlier. He said that he liked Kamara more. I said I like Mark Ingram more because of the volume. But I think that both are viable plays in this environment. It would be a very, very 2017 NFL DFS thing to do to have Alvin Kamara be chalky and let everyone down in week 17 with the most variance possible. So I like Mark Ingram a little bit more. We can't play the Tampa Bay backfield because they're just playing like whoever they want back there. It was Barber last week. Doug Martin sucks. Chris Sims still exists. We have Michael Thomas injured. We have Godwin injured. We have Coleman injured. I don't know what to do with all of this. I guess I'd be fine with Mike Evans. But I don't know if I want anything to do with the Tampa Bay side of things because they're awful and they don't have anything to play for. So, I mean, I guess the only plays I really want here are Mark Ingram and Mike Evans as a secondary play, and I would be okay with Cameron Brate as long as he's healthy.
Okay. Don't hate any of that. I do like Kamara and Ingram. I can understand your take on Ingram, but and it would be so typical of 2017 for Kamara to just poop the bed now. But I like them both. Definitely in play here. But on the New Orleans side, Ted Ginn at 51, especially if Thomas is out. I like that a ton. New Orleans, if they win the South. So they're going to be going for it. Now, if you want to be different, I don't hate Jameis at 5,800. As bad as he's played, he's put up 19 or more in 3 of 4 starts since getting healthy. I think there's a lot to be said about a healthy Jameis. Does it with his legs and through the air. He's a mental midget, and he can disappoint you at times. But in a multi-entry deal, Winston at 58 could be in play with the likes of an Evans or a Godwin if he is healthy. There's a ton of question marks out right now because there's so many guys not practicing. It's ridiculous. You have to literally pay attention to lock on what's going on because even Cameron Brate's questionable at 3,300, who would be a very good play against a New Orleans defense that can be exposed in the middle of the field from time to time. So I don't mind those guys. They're not my favorite plays at all, but I could see them doing well, especially the Winston side of things. But Ted Ginn, running backs in New Orleans, that's where I'll be focusing my fun in this game. It's crazy high total, but they played earlier this year to a very low output when we thought they'd go bananas. So we'll see how that one goes, especially outdoors on the road in Tampa Bay. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jags have nothing to play for, but they've already said they're going to play hard. They've come out saying that. It's coach speak, believe what you wish from Doug Maroney. Tennessee has to win and get some help, so they're going to be going for it. You got Tennessee 3.5-point home favorites, totals 41.5. One of my favorite running back plays of the week, and they should be extremely chalky, is Derrick Henry at $5,500. Way too cheap for we've seen how good he is when he gets a decent amount of touches. DeMarco Murray has a severely damaged knee, and he said he's going to play, which is ridiculous if he does. Just like the dumbest thing ever. So Derrick Henry at 5,500, love it, love it, love it. At tight end, Delaney Walker at 4,400, definitely worth a look at as well. And if you want a cheap receiver, Rashard Matthews at 41 for Tennessee, I don't hate. It is Jacksonville's secondary, so take it with a grain of salt. But since he's come back, he's been Mariota's guy again, but again, Mariota sucks. So Walker, Henry, I like on that side of things. I can't really trust the Jacksonville side because I don't know if they'll rest in the second half, the fourth quarter. They say they're going for it, but I can't believe a team that can't afford to lose anybody because they're finally a good team in the playoffs. It'd be so Jacksonville to have like Fournette break his leg and Bortles, in with a concussion or something. That'd be Jacksonville 101 going into the playoffs. So give me Henry, give me Delaney Walker, maybe some Matthews, and I'll watch Jacksonville. What do you got on this one?
Why is Tennessee favored?
Because I think when these lines are made, they're expecting Jacksonville to lay down. But all week, Maroney's been saying, "Oh, we're going to play," because literally, it doesn't matter if they win or lose; their seed's locked. They have nothing to play for, and Tennessee has to win.
It's still a weird line. Like, Jacksonville is still a really, really good defense and like can control the ball really well. And Tennessee's bad, missing their starting running back. I don't know. That's a weird line. I would think that this would be a pick 'em, honestly. I think we'll probably see it move a little bit farther in Jacksonville's favor unless they rule some people out. But weird line. Yeah, Tennessee has to try here. So, they have to try hard. If that line moves farther towards Tennessee, this is one of those games where you should be watching the Vegas line on it. If the line moves farther in Tennessee's favor, I think you stack Tennessee. They're all priced down against this Jacksonville defense that's been incredible all year. Mariota's only $5K. You mentioned Derrick Henry. He's only $5,500. Their wide receivers, the most expensive wide receiver they have is Rashard Matthews at $4,100 and then Delaney Walker at $44. So if that line moves in Tennessee's favor, which I don't think that it will, then you would want to take advantage of that. That would mean that there's some good simulations out there that are saying that Tennessee is going to put up enough points to beat Jacksonville. But me personally, I think Jacksonville wins this in a really, really low-scoring affair because even if Jacksonville sits Bortles, I guess, or Fournette, I guess, they still have an incredible defense. It's not like they're going to be resting their starting defense players because that hardly ever happens. So, I don't know. This game is really weird for me. I would say that if the line moves in Tennessee, you should get some Tennessee players. You should get some exposure to Mariota, Delaney Walker, Rashard Matthews. But otherwise, probably just avoid this one. Jacksonville's defense is really good, and Tennessee's not very good. Just take Derrick Henry if you want any piece and just move on.
Yep, Henry will be chalk, but it's some of the chalk that's worth biting off, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Kansas City at Denver. Denver 3.5-point favorites at home. Totals 38.5. Pretty positive the Chiefs have nothing to play for. They already have Mahomes starting at quarterback this week. No Alex Smith. What's your take on this one?
Well, first off, Mahomes is #good at football. He's really good. And the Broncos defense has been #bad at football all year. But with that being said, they do play in Denver, and Denver's price is down at $2,900 against a rookie quarterback and a beat-up O-line. So if you think that Mahomes is going to Doug Flutie, Alex Smith, then you should play him. If you don't, then I think the Broncos defense is in play at $2,900. They can still get plenty of sacks. They still have Von Miller. They still have good cornerbacks. They've had really, really, really bad luck in the red zone this year that I fully expect to normalize next year. But they hit some serious regression off the last couple of years and had some bad scheming things and coaching and blah, blah, blah. But I think the Denver defense is a good play this week at $2,900. Other than that, Kansas City doesn't have anything to play for, and they're going to have a rookie quarterback. So I don't think that I really want much of this offense. We know that rookies lean on their tight ends, so you could go Travis Kelce at $7,100 if you wanted to. He's probably the only play on Kansas City side that I want. I don't really like much of this game.
Yeah, I like the C.J. Anderson Denver D correlation. I think the D at $2,900, everything you said, I agree with. Yes, Mahomes is good, but how much are they going to ask him to do? I think they just want to get through this game without getting anything else hurt, O-line, receivers, anything. So I think the defense could be in line for some good play, low scoring at $2,900. C.J. Anderson at $6K. It's pricier than normal for C.J., but they're giving him a ton of touches with Osweiler back there. So I don't mind him at all. You can gamble on the receiving and quarterback play, but I just like the Anderson-Denver correlation and go that way. I don't want to get cute with Brock Osweiler ever. I know he's been actually putting up fantasy numbers. I don't want to do it. Oakland at the Chargers. Chargers 8-point home favorites. Totals 43. There'll be a lot of Oakland fans at this game in LA. so it won't really be a home game for the Chargers. Chargers need to win to make things happen. Phillip Rivers at $6,600 is outstanding to me. This is one of your better quarterback plays of a good quarterback against a bad defense with something to play for this week. I love him at $6,600. You can pair him up with our good old boy Keenan Allen at 78. Big fan there. You saw Gates have a big week last week. He's up to 4,200. I don't like paying 4,200 for Gates, but in this matchup, I won't tell you not to. I could see the appeal there. Keep an eye on Melvin Gordon. He's pretty banged up, and they've already mentioned that he'll probably be sitting out. So if he does, they've already said that Brandon Oliver will be starting over Eckler. Oliver's 4K, and he plays in the passing game quite well. But I love just Rivers and Allen, that 1-2 punch. I like a ton in that matchup. The defense at 3,600, I don't hate either. I'm not a Raiders fan offensively at all. Lynch at 4,400 is a cheap running back. They keep giving him tons of touches. He's a double-digit machine. Very good cash game play. He's not going to break the bank for a GPP, but he's been a double-digit monster, which is the cash reliability you like at 4,400. So I can see that appeal, but I love Rivers and Gordon in this one. And if you want to try – or Rivers and Allen, in this one. I love them a lot. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, I kind of have this like weird internal feeling that they're going to limit Keenan Allen's snaps. Because if they win it, then that's great. But Keenan Allen is such an important thing. He's so injury prone that I kind of feel like they'll be cautious with him. But that's just a gut feel. Like I have nothing to defend that. It's just like kind of a weird feeling where like if I was the coach, I would worry about it, you know? Melvin Gordon has said that he said he's definitely going to be ready to play, but I mean, coaches' opinion, or I mean, players' opinions don't matter about their own injuries. It's about the coaches. So we know that Gordon is injured. I really like Brandon Oliver a lot. At 4K, Eckler still has a broken hand. It's not like he's going to be that involved. Brandon Oliver is one of the better plays on this slate at 4K. I do think that Melvin Gordon will play a little bit if he can talk coaching staff into doing it. But there's 0% chance he'll have full workload. So I like Brandon Oliver quite a bit at 4K. I think he has some sneaky upside, even if Melvin Gordon plays. But with that being said, Phillip Rivers is one of the best quarterback plays on this slate. Oakland is awful on defense. I totally agree with Bubba on this one. I think that you can stack up the Chargers any way that you want. Go Chargers with Rivers, Allen. Oliver, I think, can get a lot of upside there. Tyrell Williams. You could go – who's that other little dude? Travis Benjamin. You could go any way that you want on this Chargers team. They have a lot to play for, and I think Phillip Rivers is very underrated. So I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind Tyrell Williams at 43 either. I agree with you on that one. If you want to go cheaper or even mega stack it, I think the Chargers will score at will in this game. So I could definitely in play. Niners at the Rams. Rams 2.5-point favorites against Jimmy G and company. Totals 45.5. If the Rams win, they are the 3 seed. If they lose, they are the 4 seed. So no matter what, they're hosting a wild card game next weekend, but it definitely does impact who they will be playing. What is your take on this one?
I saw something that Cooper Kupp, Sammy Watkins, and Robert Woods are all questionable.
I heard Jared Goff and Gurley aren't even playing, but they're still listed here on DraftKings, but I heard somewhere they're not even playing. As you talk, I will look up.
Bro, I mean, okay, so first off, if Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, Cooper Kupp, Sammy Watkins, and Robert Woods don't play, why are the Rams 2-point favorites against Jimmy G, who's won 20 games in a row?
And Aaron Donald from the defensive line sitting as well.
Okay, go take the San Francisco I'm going to build the biggest parlay ever. I'm taking the Browns. I'm taking the 49ers. I am going to try to hit that $37,000 parlay this week with a $10 bet. And that's my DFS exposure. I'm going to hit the Millie Maker on the casinos because that's hilarious. Lines are so bad this week. Okay, well, if all of the Rams rest, then the 49ers are awful. I don't think that Sean Mannion is very good, but I don't know, man. If all of them rest, what do you do? Like, what would you do? I don't know what I want to do here.
Well, the chalky plays Jimmy G at 67 because, as we saw, he torched even the best defense in football. But I can't hate it. I think I still go 66 for Rivers, but I love Jimmy G. He's proven everybody that he's that good. What I do like is Carlos Hyde at 4,900. They've incorporated him heavy in the running game, and they're starting to slowly give him passes back. He's been putting up the numbers regardless of the lack of pass attempts he was getting. So at $4,900 is an extremely cheap price for Carlos Hyde. I do like that. If this is a grinded out game, the Niners defense at $2,100. Say it with me, James. Niners defense at $2,100.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I just said that I'm going to bet the 49ers money line this week. Like, of course I want their defense 20.
And outside of the implosion in Jacksonville last week, the Bortles implosion, by the way, their defense has actually played really, really good with Jimmy G running the helmet quarterback for the offense. It's been sneaky good.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. Like, people don't understand the correlation between a good quarterback and a good defense. Like, if a quarterback can give a team a lead, then a defense can actually do things that matter in getting into the quarterback and applying pressure. And, I mean, with Jimmy G at quarterback, I think 49ers are going to be one of the better defenses in the NFL next year. But, yeah, right now, 2,100, that's a really, really good price for them.
Hell, they put up 12 points against Jacksonville last week, even giving up 33 because they had a defensive touchdown.
Ugh.
So, yeah, I can't touch the Rams because I'm not trusting Sean Mannion. The only play I will say, is, I want to make sure his name correctly, Mike Brown, I believe is his name. Yep, Malcolm Brown, $3,900 starting running back for the Rams. They're going to give him a ton of touches, a ton, at $3,900. Only thing I can justify that's dirt cheap for a running back. They're going to feed him the rock a lot.
Sure, yep.
So that's the only play we can look at there in my for the Rams side. Otherwise, Jimmy G, good one's going to get his. I love Hyde's price, love the defense. The Niners, my boys and girls, James, did you think we'd be so happy about the Niners earlier this year?
No, I didn't. Not even a little bit.
All right, last game of the day. Seattle has to win. It's Arizona at Seattle. Seattle's 9-point home favorites. Total's 39. Seattle, if they win and a Falcons loss, will give Seattle a playoff berth. So they have to win. The Falcons have to lose. I think there's a lot to smash here. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, full stack Seattle by a lot. Like, Russell Wilson is a god in the second half of the season, and just stack up that team. That's the only thoughts that I have on this game. Just stack Seattle. Just do it however you want.
Yep. Wilson 69, Baldwin's too cheap at 64, Graham at 48. Bring it back with Fitz at 69. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Stanton will throw it to him over and over and over again. I mentioned this stat last week, and I'll bring it up again real quick. When he faced Seattle in Week 10 as a starter, Stanton got 15 DraftKings points against Seattle. Can you guess how many points Larry Fitzgerald had in that game?
Is it 15?
24.3. 10 for 113 on 14 targets.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, he
feeds him.
Yeah. Yep, I believe it.
And he has such a nice price at $6,900.
Yep.
All right, that is 16 games in less than an hour, my friend, because there's that much bad football that we're looking forward to this week. Do you have any bold calls this week?
Yeah, the Browns and the 49ers win me $10,000 on a parlay. That's my bold call.
That's very, very possible. Let's see. My bold call, because, God, there's some ugliness out here. Give me good radio for everybody, because there's so much bad football. The Baltimore Ravens, they hold Cincinnati to less than 7 points this week.
That's not bold. Come on. You can do better than that.
Okay, I'll do better than that. Give me that's too. Phillip Rivers is too easy. Give me the 49ers defense as the second highest scoring defense behind the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, love it. That's bold. Love it.
Okay, we'll go that way. All right, let's play a little bit of our game. I'll do quarterbacks, you do running backs, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Russell Wilson or Phillip Rivers?
That's so tough to start off with. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you can't go wrong either way, but yeah. At home, in that building against that team, I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Matt Stafford or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins, because I think he's playing for something.
Kirk Cousins or Tyrod Taylor?
Kirk Cousins, because I think he's better than Tyrod Taylor.
Okay. It's tough because so many of these bad quarterbacks I don't even want to talk about.
That's fair.
I'm scrolling down the list and it's difficult. I'm going to end it there. I can't I can't even do anymore. Honestly, I'm looking at them. It's that bad. Do you want to play Jimmy G or Drew Brees?
Jimmy G, because he's better. Like
Okay.
that's the thing about the slate, though. I mean, like a lot of these kind of like one-off decisions. There's the players grouped together. There's one that's just so grossly better than the other one next to them that
Yep.
it's going to be a really chalky week. But I think you have to follow that pattern.
Yeah, that's why I asked that question earlier, because when I was doing this research last night, it is so bad. Okay, last one. Jacoby Brissett or Tyrod Taylor? I know you don't want either, but if you had to.
Tyrod Taylor.
All right, there's your quarterbacks.
All right, running backs. LaShawn McCoy or Alvin Kamara?
McCoy.
All right. Kenyon Drake or Dion Lewis if both James White and Rex Burkhead are out?
Ooh. Give me Kenyon Drake just because of the Belichick factor.
Word. Good idea. Let's see. Alex Collins or Derrick Henry?
Alex Collins. It's tough.
Yeah,
What were you going to say?
I said this one is actually a choice. Because Derrick Henry is super stuck, but Alex Collins has just as good of an opportunity.
Yeah, that's why I go Collins, because his ownership will be so much lower than Henry's, even though I'm not saying Henry's not going to smash, but purely ownership-wise, and I know Collins can do just as good, if not better, I'll take Collins.
Word. All right. Bilal Powell or Theo Riddick?
Give me Bilal Powell.
All right, and then let's go to some cheap ones here. Brandon Oliver or Malcolm Brown? Ooh, okay, that one, if both of the starting running backs for those teams are out.
Yeah, thank you. I was about to clarify. Give me Brandon Oliver.
Okay. All right, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, this is ugly. This is a bad week of football. Wide receivers. Let's kick it into gear. Julio Jones or Keenan Allen?
Julio Jones.
Okay. Larry Fitzgerald or Marquise Goodwin?
Marquise Goodwin, snap shove. I think Larry Fitzgerald's 90 years old. I don't think he makes it through the game.
Okay. Marquise Goodwin or Doug Baldwin?
Doug Baldwin, definitely.
Okay. Let's go a little more here. T.Y. Hilton or Doug Baldwin?
Ooh, now we're getting tough. Can I say both? I would just play both.
At their prices, you easily could.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would lean Doug Baldwin because I think he's better than T.Y. Hilton is, but that's really tough.
Mohamed Sanu or Ted Ginn Jr.?
If Michael Thomas is out?
No, sure, if that makes it easier for you.
Yeah, then it's Ted Ginn. But otherwise, it's like a coin flip for me between those two.
Okay. All right, let's get down here. I like this one right here. If Kelvin Benjamin's healthy, like we know he's good to go, Benjamin or Josh Doxson?
Josh Doxson. Not even close for me. Like, Josh Doxson with 14 targets, and he's actually good at football.
I love it. I love Doxson this week. Kelvin Benjamin or Rashard Matthews?
Ooh. I'll lean Kelvin Benjamin for now, but if that line movement moves towards Tennessee, then Rashard Matthews.
Okay, that's all I got.
All right, radical. On to tight ends, where I have like half a question for you. Gronk or Kelsey?
Gronk, just because I know Brady will play at least a half.
Okay.
And that's all Gronk needs.
Yeah, that is all that Gronk needs. I agree. Greg Olsen or Evan Ingram if he's 100%.
I believe Ingram's already out.
No, he's questionable. He returned practice.
If Ingram's 100%, I still want Greg Olsen.
Okay, that's fair. Delaney Walker or Eric Ebron?
Delaney. I can't play Ebron at that price. I didn't play him at 25. I can't justify 45. I know he's playing great, though. He's playing great.
And do you think that Antonio Gates will die on the field this week?
Die is a strong word. Break a hip, very possible.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, defense. I'm pretty sure we agree on the Ravens and we agree on the Niners. Give me two other defenses you're looking at. Maybe one in the 3s and one below 3.
The Broncos and the Chiefs.
Okay,
I like both.
Those are both really strong. The Broncos, I like that a lot. What were they, 29? Yeah. That's tremendous. I don't mind them. And then also at 35, the Patriots.
Okay. Word.
Sweet. Wrapping it up, my friend. It's been a pleasure this year. We still got the playoffs to go. We'll talk about that, see what we're going to do there if we do anything at all. But see if anybody wants us. Maybe shout it out and see if you guys want us to do a playoff edition. We can make it work. But, James, it's been a pleasure, my friend. And Bucks, he's been amazing. He's traveling, by the way, for those that didn't know. He's traveling home from the West Coast to the East Coast with family for the holidays. So check out Bucks at BP Snow 11. He's doing a lot of work there at gupscorner.com. James is doing work at dailyroto.com, crushing it over there. Your free NBA pass all the way through the weekend?
Yep, all the way through the end of the week. Yep.
Awesome. Go check that stuff out. Yeah, go check that stuff out, guys. They've been crushing it over there. James is at paydirt_DFS. I am at BDentric, sportsdgens.com. All kinds of good stuff. But hit us up with your questions. We're always here to help. So thanks, James. Any final words?
Nope, just getting ready. Y'all will hear from me about my pitching podcast. I'm trying to do 3 podcasts a week starting in January to get ready for the season. I'm going to go over all of the pitchers on every single team and talk about regression and expectations and stuff like that. So just look out for that. And then if I'm not back on the NFL one, it's been great working with you, man.
You're always welcome back. So we'll figure that out. And, check out his stuff, James. Digs into analytics. Very, very good stuff with him, as always. But until next week, guys, or next season, whatever it is, this is NFL Week 17, 2-point conversion NFL DFS podcast. Check you later.